Hello and welcome to Brilliance Today, where individuals let their brilliance shine through their stories, expertise and philosophy, because they're on a mission to make a difference and leave a legacy. Introducing Brenda Dempsey, publisher, speaker and TV presenter. Get ready to be inspired.
Hello and welcome to another session of Brilliance Today. And behind every great woman is another great woman. I'm Brenda Dempsey, and this is the Voice of Women series. And I am so delighted for this book that's coming out in July the 22nd. And today we've got a beautiful, beautiful soul. We've got Layla Begum. Hi, Layla.
Hi, Brenda. Well, thank you so much for that huge compliment that I don't yet deserve.
You deserve all the brilliance that's coming your way, Layla. We all do. So, Layla, tell us who you are and what you do and what's your driving force in life.
Stuck.
No, so you're Layla. What do you do? What do you do for a living, and why do you do it, and what are you passionate about in life?
I don't do much. I'd like to think that I'm doing better than what I did yesterday. I work for the NHS. I'm a business planning manager. I would describe myself as someone who's a peacemaker, someone who's very curious, high energy, but wants to bring out the best in people. So that's who I am. So I'm value driven, morally trying to do good for the society, community, people, environment, and a peace seeker. I'm quite an extrovert in personality, but I also like my introvert personality at home. I like spending time alone, reading in the nature. And the thing that I'm passionate about is humanity. So my former background is also youth worker. I did 11 years in Townless Council working with not in employment, educational training young people. So making a difference in youth life and empowering them to be their best version and then getting them to develop as leaders. I feel we need more strong, morally valuable young men and women to continue the legacy of doing good in this world.
Wow, that is amazing, Layla. What an absolute vision. And dare I say, the mission that you are on. And the fact that you come from being a peace seeker, I thought that was absolutely beautiful. And for me, that comes from a place of divinity. You know, that comes from something that's inside of us. And you say you work for the NHS. Now, do you have any plan or any vision for your own life that one day you might step into? Well, you are a leader, we'll talk about that in a minute, but you might step into a more entrepreneurial spirit and actually drive your own life in the direction that you want it to go?
I think we are all born leaders. Some people are very good at articulating and demonstrating that in behavior, example, role modeling. I'd like to think that my role gives me enough satisfactory and peace in what I do, because I'm quite conscientious in my delivery, my personality, my work ethics. I'd like to think that I can actually champion other people to be their best version and build a legacy in how they project themselves. And for me, it goes back to role modeling, mentoring, coaching, and developing other leaders, because I'm a sucker when it comes to good standard, humble people, and people that made it from the hoods to where they are. So I see myself being happy, but also championing what I have done myself as somebody who came to UK age 8 and now works for the NHS and, does community work at the same time.
So lots of people ask you to talk about a challenge you've had. I want to be, you know me, I always like to be different and do different is what I say. Tell me of something that you've done that you're proud of, that achievement, that you're glad you took it on, and you know that with that achievement you can go on and do bigger and better things and be, as you say, a better version of yourself.
I think growing up, I've always valued money. I've started work when I was 17 and I made my first £500 as a part-time student, as a full-time student and a part-time office worker. But I didn't just have my office work salary. I also was doing cleaning work every 5 days a week and getting £5 an hour. So I had £25 cash in my hand that was going towards saving. I did lots of other ad hoc jobs, such as Avon, selling makeup, those kind of things. And I think for me, it took me a lot of time. But as I was making small money, I was also contributing towards my sister's wedding, and then my parents going to Hajj for the pilgrimage, which is one of the 5 pillars in Islam. However, in 2016, I came across a really lucrative investment, which I thought was Sharia compliant, and I needed to make money, make my money work for money. So I came across an opportunity called digital currency, OneCoin. And due to the way that it was conducted to me, I really believed it was genuine, it was Sharia compliant. I ended up putting 20 years of life saving, then to find out it's actually a scam. It's actually not a business. So I got duped into it. That experience was the most challenging, I would say, in my life as an unmarried Bangladeshi woman who had dependency on her. And then 20 years of saving gone over one poor decision that I made. I did go through lots of hurdles of not liking myself, blaming myself and blaming other people, blaming process, blaming everything. So I've learned to overcome that through spiritual healing, acceptance, accountability, but also having self-compassion and kindness. So I forget, I've got to a point where I actually forgive myself for all the mistake that I did. I thought it was right at that time, but now looking back, I'm actually a better version of Layla than I was in 2016. And I think that actually humbled me, because I take accountability on the choices that I make and I made. And I think I want to do more of those kind of things. So the challenging actually made me more evolved, more kinder, more compassionate. So I'm working towards being that person as a giver, someone who gives, not takes, but someone who is concerned about others. And I just want myself, so selfless person who has kind for humanity from all different faiths, but it's also someone who's an integrated human being.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I can feel your human. Actually, I feel quite emotional for you, Layla. The power in what you say, the energy with what you and how you say it, that beautiful, high vibrational, peaceful, um, uh, filled with humility and groundedness, is just something that takes people's breath away. And I know when people listen to this, Layla, they will be absolutely in awe of what you've achieved. And it's right that you speak about it, and you speak about it with a consciousness that you know that not everybody can do what you've done, bounce back from a setback that you said you had to take full responsibility for losing your life savings. Boy, that would absolutely crumble many people. And but you know that in order to be the best version, you've got to find the humility in forgiving yourself and putting yourself first in terms of forgiveness and kindness. It's back to the old saying about putting your own oxygen mask on first. And Layla, you do that beautifully. So Voices of Women is an anthology filled with amazing women like yourself from all around the world, from all backgrounds. It's diverse in the experiences and the culture, and that's something that really drives me. But you've started to touch on it. How would you describe leadership? What is a great leader in your mind's eye?
I mean, growing up, I used to think leaders were people like politicians, prime ministers, people that had a really executive leadership role. But actually now that I've actually seen better life, more, I have more wisdom through my flaws and experiences, I realize actually leadership is someone who is authentic, someone who cares about the people, someone who empowers other people and encourages other people. But leaders are also human. They also go through their own challenges. It's how they conduct themselves. leadership is not something that's manuscript and it's just made up and it's a role play. It's someone who actually is still resilient, is graceful in their experiences of life. And I think I'm attracted to people that are like that. So as an example, I find your entrepreneurship quite inspiring because you motivate, you encourage, you bring out the best. And I think that to me is leadership, being a role model, showing other people that you actually can do a lot of things. You have to take accountability, focus on what you can control, but also learn people's emotions, learn what works for people, what motivates people. So for me, it's much more internal rather than external subjects.
Absolutely. Thank you for your very kind and generous words. Sometimes it's lovely to hear them, but sometimes it's quite hard. And that's one thing it does keep you humble, is when people say amazing things. And oh, I forgot what I was going to say there. You've really thrown me with your kindness and generosity. Oh dear, it's not often that I'm stuck for words, that's for sure. But yes, it is all about, and I think it's being a teacher, a lifelong teacher, and a lifelong learner. You do want the best. For me, I want people's brilliance to absolutely just radiate from within, and for other people to see, because we've all got something that we can teach other people. We've all got our tribe, so I do things in Brenda way, you do things in a Layla way, your tribe and my tribe. Some people might be the same, some people will be totally different, and that's okay, because there's billions of people in this world. So we've all got to find those tribe, and we can beat and we can lead to the beat of our own drum. That's very, very important. So you've talked about what you think a leader is. What is the main traits? What are the three most vital traits, would you say, that a leader should show, should have, in order to be the great humanitarian, authentic leader?
I think for me, based on what I've experienced and what I've been fortunate with, a leader to me is someone who has compassion. So someone who's compassionate. So it's not just for others, but compassionate for themselves. And then passes on to other people because they feel self-compassion. So therefore, they're able to pass on that kind of emotion and work with people. Someone who's authentic in their behavior, and there's no questioning, because we're all human. We're not robots. We're not AI. Someone who's encouraging, so helping other people develop and passing on and building that kind of legacies. To me, that's a leader. But I feel that we all have leader in us, but some people want to stay behind and quiet because they feel that they're not courageous enough. It takes a lot of humility, humbleness, and vulnerability to be out there as a leader, and that means having courage, being daring and being able to share stories that actually can incite other people to make good choices, good decisions. So for me, if I didn't experience bad stuff in my life, I probably wouldn't be the person I am. I would just assume leadership means somebody who's a politician.
Absolutely, and what was coming up for me as I was listening to you was vulnerability. Someone who's unafraid to make a mistake, unafraid to do a faux pas like I did. I was really thrown by your kind words, and my thought went right out my head. But you know what? Who cares? It happens to us all. So we just pick up and we carry on. And for me, I like people who, I call it raw and real, Layla. I don't like people to put a mask on and try to be perfect for the people that they're talking to. If you trip, you trip. You make a joke about it. Being a Scot, we learn to laugh at ourselves, Layla. And for me, that's a great thing. So not being vulnerable, sharing stories. Like you've been extremely vulnerable today, sharing your story. And I thank you for that, because that takes immense courage, Layla. You've got to be brave, and then it's about taking that bold action. And bold action is grounded in humility. Bold action doesn't come from a place of ego. Bold action is doing what it takes because you're on a mission, because you've got the greater good to make a difference in people's lives. Like we were talking before we started, you want to help other people who are, you know, they're so stuck in their ways. And we spoke about, like, that's part of the humanitarian and philanthropic work that we do as entrepreneurs. So as we march along and progress, and our aura shines brighter and brighter, we have to help those who cannot help themselves. We have to empower them, because maybe they're not in a place that they know that they can make the decisions and find the courage. We need to encourage them to find their courage, you know. So in terms of Voices of Women, then, why did you feel compelled to be part of this project?
I felt it was a time that I was most comfortable sharing my stories and, you know, inspiring other people, because I'm somebody that comes from a South Asian Bangladeshi background. I'm somebody that speaks English as a second language. I'm somebody that used to have assumption that leaders should be in a certain way. They should look a certain type and they should have a certain behavior. But it just seemed like I probably possessed those kind of qualities before when I was younger. I just didn't understand how to articulate it. But I think my bad experience made me realize actually there are lots of leaders that are demonstrating you know, negative personalities and traits such as misleading, you know, projecting it to be perfect, and you have to know everything and you have to be the subject matter expert at everything. And I found that in my community, I came across lots of leaders that are misusing the title of leadership and what it is about. So I decided this book actually came at the right time. It was for me to share my story, my journey, and how I've moved on from that experience, but it's also how I did other things. And I believe that if people kind of have the same sort of optimism, hope, kindness, and self-compassion, they could do more, and, you know, not see life as a burden and, you know, any bad experience as a burden, but rather as a learning opportunity. So I am quite, you know, happy to say that I actually don't see life as the end of one bad mistake, that's the end. I just see that, okay, it's a bad mistake. What can we learn from this mistake? So wisdom and humility, humbleness, but also there's so much we have to do, you know, with the, you know, with the kind of accessibility and opportunity that we have to spread goodness. And that's what I want to do. I feel like my might touch some people's emotions, and also hoping that it make think differently, especially if they're related to financial fraud and people from, you know, Islamic background, and definitely the Bangladeshi culture.
There you go. And one of the words that was screaming at me as I was listening to you is about resilience and what I call bounce back ability, you know, and that's something you've obviously got in spades, because of what you've achieved and looking to the future. So 2 more questions. So the penultimate one is, what do you see as a future for this whole Voices of Women?
I feel this whole Voices of Women would actually encourage more of people that are kind of stuck and feeling disempowered, you know, not being the best version, to read the stories and, you know, connect with individuals that have actually been through negative experience, have they've turned it around and still doing what they love, and that is sharing goodness, and, you know, being in the right environment, right time, right with the right support, and knowing that there are other people and they're not alone.
Yeah, that's a great phrase, and I know it does get used quite a bit, but it's extremely true. You're not alone. We're all interconnected, part of this universe and the energy. That's another. Are you open to that way of thinking? You know, and quantum and all of that. So, last word, Layla. What would you like to say to our audience and listeners today? What words of encouragement would you like to leave them with?
I think life is what you make out of it. Everything is an opportunity. Don't see life or any challenges as it's the end and that's all. You know, have that shifting mindset where actually, you know, if a bad experience has happened or something didn't work out, it's not the end. Find ways around doing it, but be kind and compassionate to yourself, and then use that on other people, especially those who are close to you, because we all need love, not hate, and spread peace.
Oh, I just love that. We all need love. As I describe myself, I am love, and love is everything in my world. Thank you so much, Layla. You have been amazing. There we have. We've had the beautiful Layla Begum. You've heard her beautiful energy, her words of encouragement, and her vulnerability. So until the next time, this is Brenda saying, be
Thanks.
brilliant. Much love. Into the pit.
That's it for this episode of Brilliance Today. Thank you so much for listening. Please don't forget to subscribe and leave a review. For more information or to contact Book Brilliance Publishing, visit bookbrilliancepublishing.com. And remember, do different. Be brilliant.